some recommendations here. And what can you do for your organization today? I don't want to just talk about having the need to go do something. I want to actually have something that you can take back to the organization. And I think first and foremost is evaluate marketing management. Evaluate this left side of the equation, if you will. Is your focus on optimizing marketing execution out of balance? And I love this analogy down here, and this, I didn't invent this. I forget where I found it. I'd love to give whoever developed it credit. But the concept here is, you need to be in balance to hit the market on the head. You need to have your marketing management processes optimized. They need to flow. They need to be seeded by information from the market. And that's going to flow through to whatever appropriate channels are there. And this triangle at the bottom is really the infrastructure that you put in place in a localized marketing environment. It's the technology decisions you make, but anytime you want to make a technology decision, you have to invest in people and process at the same time to move that triangle. So let's say that you're skewed highly more towards the marketing engagement side, and that whole triangle is shifted to the right. You can't just invest in technology and expect to move the triangle. And I think a lot of organizations do that with investments in digital asset management or marketing asset management or even marketing resource management, and then they get frustrated because they feel like we just spent a ton of money on this technology and nothing is happening. It hasn't really changed anything for the organization. Well, that's typically because you haven't put the proper focus into the entire process, into the people and change management within the organization. So something to think about. If there's a loophole that's going to help you target revenue more effectively, if you don't get this in balance, you're going to, the whole arrow there is going to be off kilter, and you're going to miss that loophole. You're going to hit the wall. Second recommendation is to focus on low-hanging fruit first. Can you do a better job optimizing core channels? That's a question you need to ask. I think 90% of the time when you talk to organizations who highly leverage one or two primary channels, they will openly admit that there are things that they could do better, especially in the back office. It could be the approval processes, could be access to the right content, access to digital assets to actually create that marketing message in those channels, et cetera. So model the impact on revenue, figure out, is this really having an impact on our ability to deliver a relevant message? Maybe we can do something about it. And I think the question is, can you change processes or standardize processes without investing in technology? Because the answer isn't always technology. In fact, it's never technology. You're using technology to enable a process. So it's more important to figure out how can you eliminate some of the redundancy, some of the inefficiency or administrative tasks for marketers, both in the field and in corporate. How can you eliminate some of those? And if the answer is, well, we need to improve the workflow, we need to improve the capabilities, then maybe a technology solution will alleviate that challenge. But the ultimate goal is to reduce the fat and chew the fat in the process. Third recommendation, eliminate redundant systems. So, we saw this in top performers. I mean, this is nothing new. I think that I'm just trying to articulate what those organizations are already saying they're doing. And first and foremost is to reduce the use of redundant systems. Pick one and run with it. We see a lot of organizations that have 2 or 3 different systems that support digital assets in the localized environment, or maybe none. You need to have something in place. And if there are multiple systems, maybe corporate has one, maybe your local marketers all have their own separate one. There's cost savings on licensing, there's cost savings on support, et cetera. I think definitely there's an opportunity to save tremendous costs and make that revenue that you are influencing more profitable by bringing your digital assets in-house. It's very expensive, as we talked about, to have your agencies acting like outsourced asset repositories, and we definitely see a huge trend in top performers moving towards that direction and bringing assets in-house. Track the source of digital assets. If you're thinking about, well, where do I start with this? How do I eliminate redundant systems? Go back and look at what is the point of origin for your digital assets. And if they're coming from a creative shop, or maybe they're an internal group that's doing the creative, where are they ending up? Can they be reused with where they end up? Are they in 5 different systems? Probably not being reused effectively. Do you have multiple of the same asset or version problems? Do you have brand consistency challenges across the organization? Then that's why we want to eliminate the reduce redundant systems. And finally, I think you have to empower local marketers. And I talked about this earlier, but you don't want to mandate control at a corporate level it's expensive and it's not effective. You can't just put in tools that aren't going to work for local marketers and expect them to use them because their butts are on the line for performance at a local level. And so if you can get the right tools where you can empower them, give them some autonomy through a central repository, give them some autonomy in the way they communicate with their audience, and templatize some common collateral, that becomes very powerful for them and very powerful for top performing organizations who have already done this. And I think that finally, use the cloud to scale quickly. Software as a service has come a long way in the last 10 years, and especially in an environment where you have to connect marketers and you have to do it more efficiently and effectively, cloud-based solutions are a really great tool, or even using the cloud to scale your internal solutions. Really smart, especially for local marketing environment. So to wrap up, it's three things if you took away nothing else. I think one is don't frame the idea of a connected organization, of connectivity, of disparate data around the customer engagement alone. Think about it in terms of you have a marketing execution process in your organization. And from the point you have a creative idea within the organization for marketing to the point that it becomes a message for a consumer to consume, what is the process there? And can you improve the marketing management side of the house? We definitely see top performers investing in back office marketing optimization to connect the global enterprise. So they're putting tools in place. They're replacing legacy tools. Those are the things that are going on now. And finally, optimize a few marketing channels instead of all of your marketing channels. Don't be the jack of all trades and the master of none, because we certainly see top performers more dedicated to improving the existing channels that they're very good at, those primary channels. It's not that they're not still doing initiatives in those other channels, but if you're thinking about impacting revenue, that's where you have to go first, is really do what you're good at.